Good evening, morning, afternoon, depending on where you are. Welcome to another stream from me, FrodoNL. Today I'm going back to my roots. I'm going back to the ZX Spectrum, which was actually my second home computer. I had a Timex Sinclair 1000 first, but the ZX Spectrum was my main computer. I got it just in 1983. It was introduced in 1982, and today we are going for games that were published in 1982. There will be some games that are similar to each other. There will be a few Space Invaders versions, for instance. But there will also be some different games. And we'll see. Some will be better than others. I selected a number of games and we'll see how they go. Let's go to the games. Okay, since this is only games from 1982, we will be using my MiSTer FPGA in ZX Spectrum 48K mode, because there are some incompatibilities in some cases with older games and newer versions of Spectrum, like Spectrum 128 or the +2 or +3. So that's why you see an original 1982 Sinclair Research Limited copyright here. And this is good old-fashioned command prompt, which on the Spectrum was a keyword command, where you could with one key do the command. And this is the most likely to be needed, so we can already enter it and we select a game from the list. I already selected a number of games to go for, and I will start with a very simple one that came with the Spectrum on a tape. We had a Horizon tape with the Spectrum, in my case, a manual, the Spectrum itself, and the Horizon tape. And on Horizon, one of the games on there was Thro the Wall, which is basically a breakout clone. Very simple game, but, well, might as well play it for a bit, you know. If we're going back to the roots, then let's go all the way. As I mentioned, very simple. They had a problem, of course, that the bed didn't move fast enough, so they had an option where you could press the shift key, or the cap shift key on the Spectrum actually, so you could move the bed a bit faster. A very basic game, of course, but hey, it was a nice way to start the ownership of a Spectrum. Test quickly if your system worked, and well, just have a bit of fun while waiting for other games to come out, or either buy other games or have the right friends in school, in my case high school, that were able to help you with that. And yes, I know that's not legal, but well, there's a lot that wasn't legal, and back in the day we were just happy that we were able to do anything at all. As you can see, this is a very simple game. Simple as in simple thing. Hi, 48K RAM. Welcome in. How are you doing, mate? Not just joystick with keyboard. This was a game that came originally with the ZX Spectrum on the Horizon tape. And I thought if we are going back to the really start, we go for the real start. And this was, yeah, it came with the Spectrum. And it was one of the first games I played on my own ZX Spectrum, because I didn't have any games at the time yet. Because I didn't know that I was gonna get it. I had the Timex Sinclair 1000 at the time, but that was broken, so I was without a computer. And then my dad went and got it for me already, and I had to pay the rest of, because I had saved part of it, and I had to pay the rest back later. So I didn't have any games ready for it, so I played what was on the original tape, and this was one of them. So I thought, if we're going back to the roots, then let's go all the way back and start with the game that I played on the very first day I owned the ZX Spectrum. Oops, that was bad. Yeah, I need to work one more day. You too, or do you also work in the weekend? Yeah, same with me. Just having to get through one more day and then it's weekend. And next week I'm on call, which is less fun, but oh well, so be it. Let's hope I don't get too many calls. Usually we don't, but you never know for sure. And actually for a version that's played with, in this case, a keyboard, it's actually not that unplayable. It's more playable than one would expect, by the way. Yeah, I'm on call once every 5 weeks, so it's not too bad. And most of the time we don't get any calls these days, because we are a second line on call. First line is in Romania these days. That does have the disadvantage that if we get a call, it's really bad usually, because that means that Romania couldn't handle it. That was stupid. And as always, the last blocks are the hardest to get to. So I'm sure you played versions of Breakout 2 back in the day. Oops, need to go the other way around. Why painful? That was the only painful thing, and I think I deserve at least 1 or 2 oopses for that, because there were some stupid errors. It wasn't my favorite game either. Arkanoid was already a lot better, but this was a bit too simple often. There, let's add 2. That seems reasonable. No to exit, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, this game is actually in basic, as you can see. Which was kind of fun, because you could actually learn a bit about programming from it. And well, I think you remember those days too, that the manuals to the computers were actually pretty good back in those days. Which is not always the case now. Okay, well then you're in for a treat, because I have a number of Space Invaders clones here. They are not exactly official versions. We'll start with this one. Some are better than others. I will have to search for keys in some of these games, because I don't have the manuals here or etc. So we'll see. Why? It's so easy on the Spectrum. It's so much quicker than any other computer, because you don't have to type out the whole commands. After a few days, you know most of the commands where they are by heart, so it was easy enough. 1 player, okay, I will have to check the keys. Cap, shift and space, Z and space to shoot, okay. That was a bad start. I usually, well, at the moment I will sometimes have to hunt them down, because I don't remember them all, but back in the day I would know them all. But there's still quite a few I do remember, even these days. This was a not completely official clone for Space Invaders, as you can see. It has some slight difference, and that was stupid. My kind of game was actually Centipede. That was my game back in the day. Let's try once again in this one. We will run into other Space Invaders that I actually find more playable than this one, because as you can see, when I shoot something, it takes a bit too long before either I get show that I'm hit or the invader does. This is far from my favorite version of a Space Invaders game on the Spectrum. Although there are way worse versions too, I must admit. I have seen way worse than this. Yeah, that was the game I used to play in the arcade, Centipede. And of course I played it with the trackball, because you don't play that with a joystick. It's one of the reasons why I still want the tracker ball for my MiSTer. Yeah, okay then. Ah, looks like I still have one life, so we'll finish it with that. Not directly, no, but there are ways to do it. From what I understand. And otherwise we will just have to start talking with people to arrange it. Ah yes, there's of course the challenge. If you want, you're free to add points to the challenge. Okay, we'll have to check into that. As I said, there are other Space Invaders versions. This next one, I have to do this order. We'll just continue with the next one. I'll have to look into it. I haven't had a chance yet. This is another from Science Software. You will see that in the early years on the Spectrum, you saw quite a few Science Software games. Some were better than others again, but it was something to get started with. And while this goes a bit slower, it's also more playable than the other version. Ah, thank you. Yeah, some people seem to enjoy the idea of getting me to play Manic Miner for a full stream. I must admit I don't mind doing that, because it's a game I like. This game has its own issues. It looks like it's made in BASIC. I'm not 100% sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was. Although the shots go a bit too fast for that maybe, but... Is my... is that my microphone that's low, or the microphone? Okay, I can change that a bit by moving the microphone a bit closer. Is this better? Because this is the first time I use mic stands, so yeah, no problem. Thanks for letting me know. Now I'm searching a bit. I have to search a bit for the exact distance, of course. I got the mic stand, so I have the option now. That was a lucky shot there. Oops, that was not good. Come on. My timing is off with that, and just one more. There we go. This is a lot more playable than the other version, as you can see. And we won't complain too loud about the sound effects. They are of course very basic, because this is really the start of the Spectrum. This is the first year it was out, so... A lot of tricks still had to be learned. That was stupid. A lot of tricks still had to be learned back in those days. Later on there are better versions in other years, but for now we will stay with the 1982 games. And we're actually going to another version of a Space Invaders game. Homecomputer had a lot of really bad games. I had a football game that was really bad, but from what I remember, the Invaders was actually pretty decent. Ah yeah, this one had multiple. You could actually set levels and game variation. I don't remember what the variation of. Thanks, mate. You hang in there. Hope to see you soon. And thanks for coming by. I think you'll notice that this is a lot closer to the original Invaders than the other games we saw so far, despite, of course, being differences, but... Have a good rest of your evening, and see you soon, mate. That was too late. Oops. And hit it. Okay. Of the 3 versions we saw today, this is probably my favorite. Nope, that was too late. Let's avoid a few shots. Oops. Got it. And with that we end. Sure, let's do something stupid there. Yeah, this game is actually the most complete also. It has a high score and everything. Of the 3, this is probably the best version we've seen so far. Once again, not official though. Let's go for something completely different. Now, I'll probably lose at this, even though I should know how to play this by now. This, of course, is another classic game. I play red. Okay, so... I used to be better at this. Lately I noticed that I lost a lot of my tactical skills in these kind of games. At least one good thing, I can't die in this game. So even if Wen or such are in, they can't really do an oops for me. Unless they think I make a stupid mistake, I guess, but nah. Hi, Mosey. How you doing, Mosey? I went back to my roots, to my very first, well, my second system, the ZX Spectrum. And just playing games that came out the same year the Spectrum itself came out, 1982. I'm doing good, thank you. I have been working today. One more day. Oh yeah. One more day of work and then it's weekend, thankfully. And I must say I need the weekend because there were some more difficult working days this week. This, of course, is just an old board game. There's lots of versions of this by now, and I will probably lose, knowing me. Yeah. Yeah, the weird thing is I only had a 4-day working week this week. But I don't know, I was just... I noticed that it's their turn. I wonder why I couldn't enter and move. H4... I assume you have played a version of this before. Have you been doing anything fun the past week? I trust my levels are now okay, because I had the microphone a bit too far away earlier, it seems. Curtis. There were actually a few games we saw already that were written in BASIC. This one I don't think is, but there were a few that were, yep. But in this case we're back to BASIC, I mean, well, I should say back to my roots. I'm playing games on the ZX Spectrum that were published in the year the ZX Spectrum came out, 1982. But the very first game we did was actually a BASIC game, written in BASIC. Should be safe, I hope. So how are you doing, Curtis? Yeah, that was a stupid mistake. That is actually something that might be happening sometime in the future, but for now I first have a different community challenge. But that might be a community challenge for the future, that people make me do that. For now, people can give points to make me play Manic Miner for a full stream. But yeah, that is something I actually have in mind of doing at some point, doing a type in live. You know, glutton for punishment and such, eh? C1. I might actually win this, surprisingly. Yeah, I know you did. I heard about those, and I understand they were pretty popular. It is, of course, yeah, back to what we were used to, eh? I remember the days of typing in for hours and then forgetting to save. Or power outage just as you were almost done. And yeah, that's a win. Surprisingly, I win. at the lowest level, but even so. Yeah, done that too. The worst one I had actually was when I was typing in an assembly listing, and that was 19K code in the end, but it was in hex, so it was twice the amount of characters plus check sums, so that must have been at least 40,000 characters I was entering. And I was nearly done, was at least 90% done, when my dad switched on his power drill, and that was in the same group. And then the power dropped. And I hadn't saved. The next day, my dad got an extra group installed, and it might have to do with the words I used that day. I'm not sure about that, but it might have. There will be some interesting situations here where we'll have to search for keys in games, because I have no idea. Yeah, I know the feeling. There are nicer feelings in that you would go through. We will, by the way, see that some of these games are a lot better than others. This is actually not a bad Asteroids clone. I wanted to shoot you, but it didn't allow me to. Oops. I do not have UPS, but nowadays I have autosave on for when I'm editing, and including in Vim, because I do most of my text editing and program editing in VI. I have it set to autosave, and because you really don't want that anymore. It can take so much time. Oops. Yeah, I should really move, but I can't think of the key now that was used to move. Enter. Yeah. Or hyperspace. Okay, yeah. Let's put it all the way out of the way. There are easier versions, but well, let's be honest, these games were hard. Back in the days, a lot of games were a lot harder than we're used to now. There we go. I always found it interesting that when you shoot the UFO, its shots also disappear off the screen. I'm not the best gamer myself, Mosey, but... I maybe should explain that Curtis is of my age, just about, or a little bit older, but not a lot, so... Yeah, we remember these games as being, yeah, standard. And current day games are different and difficult in their own ways. Whoops. Exactly. These are all clones of arcade games, and arcade games were made to get a lot of quarters from you. That's also why my oops counter only counts affordable deaths, because sometimes you just can't help it in these games. As you notice, I'm going backward through the alphabet. I won't do that all the way, but at the moment I do. And I think the next one is another Asteroids clone. I seem to remember it's a bit less good than the other one, but we'll see. Okay, here we see something interesting that you saw more back in the day. Usually on the Spectrum you would do a load and you would get a basic program, and that would, if needed, load the machine code. But not in this case. They found it necessary to do it without a basic loader, so you had to do a load to code to load the bytes at once. Now Kurt is more used to that, because on the Coco you had load and load M. Load M for machine code. But Spectrum, it was less usual, but there were some back in the days that did this. Okay, here we get yeah, well, with the Coco I usually do disk images, so yeah, but C load and C load M, which always confused me, because on the Spectrum, of course, I was used to doing load for tape, and if I want to do from micro drive or disk later on, I would have to go with load and then follow it by a, what was the start? S, okay. By an indicator of where I want to load from. Basically, not that unsimilar in some ways to what Commodore 64 did, where you did standard load was from tape, but if you wanted to load from disk, you had to give a device number 8 if I remember. Yeah, device number 8 by default. As you see, this one is harder than the other one. Okay, deload, yeah. I did see that command at some point. Well, yeah, we're not gonna enter letters now.
I don't understand.
And I have to do something else, because I noticed I forgot to switch off my Google Home. It's off now. Let's try once more, but I won't make a lot of score in this one, I'm sure, because I love my Google Home, but there are moments when it's irritating, especially when you're streaming. It can be disturbing, yeah. Whoops. Can I just make it? Yeah, well, I actually made it through a level, wow. Well, that's more luck than knowledge in this case. This was far from the best game ever made for a Spectrum, even in the first year. Thankfully the version I had was the game I played earlier, just before this one. Yeah, it does. On the Spectrum you have by default 21 characters you can redefine. And yes, they indeed did that. Because the Spectrum doesn't have sprites, as you know. Let me see if I remember correctly. If I can do that quickly. But that key I have to look up. Thankfully it's behind me here. User is... Ooh, that's a while ago that I had to use that one. Where did we put that on the keyboard? I used to know these by heart, you know? I used to know all these. Let me have a look. User. Ah, yeah, of course. Caps lock off, of course. Oh yeah, the comma and the comma. I keep hitting the wrong keys. 1, 2, 7. Let's just do a little bit of an example of how we did. Or edit, you know, I might as well do this. It's a bit of a distraction from the games. Hey, Wen! That's okay. Thanks for coming by. I'm doing okay, I hope you are too. Yeah, we only had foreground and background, nothing else, indeed. Hey, Edwin, yeah, we were just happened to be talking about redefinable characters, so I thought I'd show that a bit. How that worked on the Spectrum, because, of course, Curtis is used to a different system from old. I thought might as well do this. Just a very simple one, of course, but what are we at? We were at 7, so that's 3. How are you doing, Edwin? What was wrong? Ah. Not. Where did I go wrong? I forgot the user in a few places, I see. I'm actually surprised I still remember how to do this. And now I have to think how it is. Oh, the graphics mode, of course, was Shift 9. And there you already see it. How quickly, yeah, so this is how we redefined a character quickly. We had 21 of those on the Spectrum, so it helped a bit with stuff, but we still, of course, didn't have sprites. Ah, nice. As long as the fire is hot and warm enough, that's not a problem, eh? But yeah, so just a quick demonstration of how we redefined. Oh boy, in alpaca mode. Was it that cold? I was just gonna say, it must be hot with alpaca. Let's see what the next game is. Okay, I'm not quite sure what this is. To select my games today, I actually went through this book. I have the whole series of the Spectrum Games Bible, and this is the 1982 to 1984 series. And I just went through the games from 1982 and checked what looked okay-ish. Okay, what do we have here? AZ, up, down. Symbol shift, okay. And space for laser, okay. Let's slow mode. Ah, yeah, this is a bad game, but... I decided to also include some games that I knew weren't very good. Yeah, Scramble Clone, but a very bad one. As you can see, you get long breaks every time you hit. Yeah, I'll try one more time, but I probably won't even get through the... I will not go through the first level even. As you can see, the... Later on in the Spectrum days, we would get better clones, although sometimes the keyboard wasn't that nice, as some people will remember from a few months ago when we did a Spectrum high score challenge on one of them. But yeah, this is not the best game ever, but oh well, I actually made it through the first section. And then I run into a rocket. And another one. No way to avoid that one because it just came too quick for us. But yeah, this was this kind of city games we also got. Then we come to classic Spectrum games. I think there's also a version for the Coco nowadays of this, but this was originally for the Spectrum, and I actually considered using characters from this game as my subscriber what do you call it? Subscriber emotes, but there is someone who is suing a lot of people over it. So I decided not to take the risk. Now this game has a problem. The first level isn't too bad, but there are levels where it's impossible to escape. First of all, I have to check the keys. Ah yeah, I think I remember this. Yeah. Yeah, there are maps where it's impossible to escape, or where the opponent actually goes quicker than you go through, for instance, that tunnel that's there. Okay, I could now get him. Yeah, this is a classic. Yeah, this game has loud sound. I know, it's very irritating. But it's only the one game. After that it should be okay again. Especially the dying sound, and yeah, the intro and the dying sound is rather loud on this one. Notice that the ghost goes quicker through those tunnels than you do. Yeah, there were versions for other systems later on, but the Spectrum was the original. And yeah, for a lot of people, it's still, the whole character is still associated with the Spectrum, and that was a stupid move there. I'm not even gonna try this anymore. The other game, actually, that came out in '82, and I think a bit earlier in the Horror series, was a lot more fun. Although also not perfect. Horace Goes Skiing. Of the Horace game, that's probably my favorite one. Still doesn't mean I'm good at it. It uses the same keys, and exactly. And at least it had something unique. Ah, that's a shame. Bad timing. Yeah, Frogger section, but one where you couldn't stop your character. Okay. Go into the ski hut, then we have to go back up. And let's see if we can ski. It's weird, I haven't played this in years really, and I still seem to remember about what the slope was like. Yeah, Horace was a special character, but we never really knew what it was supposed to be, but it's something, yeah, that was associated with the Spectrum, so I had to play it, of course. That was a missed gate. Well, if it's only the one, it's not too bad. The skiing part is a lot easier than the Frogger kind of part. And then we have to get across the road again, but it's getting harder because there's more traffic now. Ah, just one too low. And that's the last life. And run into. I'm reasonable at the skiing. The Frogger part I'm less good at. Yeah, man, I know, you're right. I'll try one more time, because I should be able to get to a second ski course normally. Nope, not this way. Should have gone back up a bit. That's better. That wasn't. Nope. Let's try one more time. Yeah, no money, no ski. That was a shame. Yeah, basically the ambulance fee is exactly the same as a pair of skis, aka one life. Nope, couldn't make that one. Nah, let's not. As long as I make it to the ski section, it's not too bad, but the Frogger section is just... It's not really completely fair, let's be honest, but oh well. I'll skip this one for a bit, I will go into that later. We will go into a bit of Pac-Man time now. Okay, Edwin, have a good rest of your evening. Thanks for coming by, and see you soon. Yeah, we wouldn't want you to get into trouble with the wife device, huh? Okay, we get keys in a bit, it seems. Okay, Wen. See you in a bit. Yeah, we can change different mazes. Let's just go for a random one. We can change the tempo. Yeah, they often do, Curtis. I don't know why, but yeah. See you later, Aspen. Okay, we get to use 6, 7, 5, 8. Okay, so basically cursor keys on the Spectrum. My character doesn't keep moving, so I have to keep the key pressed and hope that the ghosts don't come too close. Better go in there first, because otherwise I have to come back here. Do I have a problem? Possibly. Let's see if we can get this one through here. Nope, not this way. Now we really have a problem, because they all... That was no longer possible to avoid. And yeah, then you start from where you die. And if you're unlucky, that's just next to a ghost. Not the best game ever, but it was something I did play back in the day. Come after me, yeah, thank you. And then we had a problem because you can't avoid these. There are actually, I forgot, you have lasers in this one, which will send an opponent back to its starting position. So you don't want to use it when you're next to their starting position, as I was there. Childers, I don't know that one, but is that a similar game, Curtis? Hi, Mr. Yama. Good day there. How are you doing? As you can see, I went back all the way to my youth and went with Spectrum games, but in this case Spectrum games that were made in the same, that were published the same year the Spectrum came out, so 1982. And boy, have some of these games aged badly. But I got through the level somehow. Sorry, I thought you said something. Hey Teal, I didn't notice you came in. Sorry. I thought someone else was saying something. Hi Teal. Still at work, Teal, or? Come on, move. That was a bit too late. Hey, Sigabjorn. Good evening. Oh, you start late today? Yeah, I remember now, Teal. How are you doing, Sigabjorn? Okay, this is a problem if I stay there. I'm doing good, thank you. And how are you, Mitch? What do you do? Let's see. Oh, you've been lurking. Okay. Yeah, well. Yeah, I decided today to go to, well, back to my roots, the ZX Spectrum. How do you mean, Sigabjorn? Oh, that was stupid. Oh, squinting, no. It's more because of the height of where the screen is, I guess. I guess my screen is just a little bit too low, really. Which I can easily solve, of course. This should be better. Yeah. But yeah, this is one of those games that we had back in the day again. Let's go for another Pac-Man-like game. These days, yes, Mitsuyama. When it comes to retro, I mostly do it on the MiSTer. It's just... we have to do a... code loads. And that means I have to restart the tape. Yeah, it's just easier than taking out my Spectrum or something else. I forgot to look up the keys. Is this joystick? No, not joystick. Okay. Let's reload this because I forgot to check the keys. I think it said something about keys there. Yeah, it helps if you then use the right command, Frodo. Code. Ah, QAOP. Okay, so should have known that. Once again, not exactly the best clone ever of Pac-Man or variation. Bit too much randomness in the ghost, for instance. And the levels are not as well designed as the original, of course. Oops, too late. It's okay, you know, it's not the best of games. I save a few of the better games for later, because there were some good games out in 82 as well. Yeah, I honestly don't know which game was the first with that Mitsuyama. I know I still use those keys these days, because they just make sense nowadays. I play Fall Guys nowadays, and even in that one I use QAOP. Okay, what are the keys in this one? 0 and 9 for left, right. Let me guess, Q and A, Q for 1 and Q for up, down. This is actually one of the better versions of Pac-Man early on. It has its issues, but it's way more playable than the other versions. As long as you don't make stupid mistakes. Like not realizing. Oh yeah, there's another thing with this, of course. The ghost goes through the tunnel just as quick as you. At least it's not quicker like in Hungry Horace. Or what I just did there, you wouldn't have been able to do in Pac-Man, of course. Yeah, the ghost logic isn't that nice, but apart from that, it's pretty playable at least. Now we come to something that is actually a bit better. If I remember correctly. Ah, I need to do a code load again. Cap, shift, Z and space. We'll go for level 3, 1 player. For a 1982 game, this is pretty good, I must say. I actually played this a few months ago, that's why I remembered it. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than some of the games we've seen so far. Exactly, Curtis, that's what I feel too, and it's also quite playable. It reacts okay, it doesn't mean I'm good at it, but that's standard, but it's, yeah, it feels right, the game. Yeah, for a 1982 game, this was really a surprise. But I remember it from back in the day. I played it then, and yeah, it was. Arctic had a few really bad games, but they also had a few ones that were actually quite good, including this one. Later on, they got worse. I remember their Italy 1990 football game that should never have been published. It was too bad to even go out on cassette or as a listing in a magazine, really. But this was one of their better outings. And that was not my best move ever. Nor was that. Do I still have a life or was something last? No, it was last. I'll try this again because this is actually fun to play. First have a quick sip though. Let's say it's same level. Yes, there's color clash, but it doesn't bother me in this game. In some games it's irritating, the color clash, but here it is not too irritating. Yeah, sure. Run straight into the bullets, Frodo. Let's hope Ren isn't looking, because otherwise I would have noobs. Oh, Tita's also here, huh? Well, needed, I deserved one. That's a different thing. What I need is to become a better player probably, but... No, let's not catch the bombs. Kaboom. I remember that one, yeah. I'll try this one more time. I want to at least get through the first level. I should be able to. I got close to it in the first try. If I play a bit safer than I did in the second try. There was no escaping that anymore. But you're relatively safe on the sides, as you are in the original game too. Relatively. We keep trying. Nope. I still have a life, thankfully. Nope. Not gonna make it today. But yeah, this is one of those games that surprised us back in the day. Yeah, I agree, Wen. Actually, let's go for something quite different. People who watch the Amigos shows, and specifically the older R. Sinclair shows, will remember this game being played on there, and then Kevin Toms coming in during the show. Yeah, Kevin Toms came in during the show, the maker of this game, just as Aaron wasn't the most positive about it at the time. Although most of the time he was rather positive, but it was just the least positive moment of the show. And when we talk about Aaron, there's Aaron. Hi Aaron, good afternoon, I guess, yeah. How you doing, mate? I'm playing a game you well remember. Yeah, I still play the mobile version based on this to this day. Hi Brock, welcome. How are you guys doing? I know you did, Aaron, but just the moment when Kevin came in was just the moment when you said something that was a little bit less positive about it, but I know you did like it, that was clear. Because this is the grandfather or father of all football management games, really. Okay, nothing to be sold. Let's see if we buy, if we can get a player. Not yet. We will have to do that in the next round, I think. Let's have a look at the match details. Should be okay. Hopefully. I should have hit 99, of course, to continue. Highlights. Oh, sure. Give me a goal against. Yeah, I remember some of those names too, Mitsurayama. I have a bit more modern version of this on my phone these days. Oh yeah, for the new ones, feel free to donate channel points to make me play that well-loved game. What, Wan? What's the problem? Football pitch should be green, so it's green. Yeah, that is the Spectrum. The Spectrum actually had bright colors, unlike, for instance, the C64 and some other systems. And in later versions, you could actually switch off the highlights, but yeah. But yeah, this was where football management games all started. Well, actually, the first version was out on the ZX81, 16K version. It was exactly the same game. The only thing that was missing were these highlights, basically. Yeah, we were used to these colors when. Yeah, come on, score a goal. I remember Mitsu. Mitsuyama. I well remember that too. That is not a good start to the competition. I won't be doing too many matches, but I'll do a few games here. Yeah, I know, I'm at the bottom. You don't have to calculate that. I can calculate that correctly. We all did, Mitsuyama. We could just imagine the players standing still there, not doing anything. Why did you not go for that corner? Well. Midfield 15? Yeah. 10,000. Let's try 11,000. See if I can get them for that. Refused. 14,000, is that enough? Yeah, we got a new player. And then you change, of course, your... Let's see, midfield. Let's take Mr. Riggs out. So that's number 11. No, not sold. We don't sell. I want to change later to the game. We continue to the game. FA Cup match, okay. Yeah, we can use a bit extra in the midfield, so we do a change of team. Oh, believe me, when there will be more oopsies later on. No worries there. Let's see, we will take out number 16. Oh no, we add... Okay, this is the other way around from what I'm used to these days. 14 we add. And then we have 12 players, so we have to remove one. That's 16. And we add... Okay, something sounded here suddenly. We add 15. And we remove number 11. Because they're low on energy relatively. Offense and defense is not much we can do. Let's see what we can do with this. And we go to the next game. There we go again, Wen. It's bright again. Better get your sunglasses. Sure. Let's let that ball in, goalie, of course. So I guess you're out of your video call, Wen? This is not looking very good, eh? Ah, yeah. Of course, it's Thursday. Yeah, you have that then. Okay, we'll do one more game. I'm out of the car. We'll do one more competition game. See if we can make a win, have a win there. Weekly balance is not looking very good, so thankfully we still have a lot of money. Do you want P Barnes? Energy's a bit low, but he might be useful later on. Let's see if we can get him for that. Yeah. And we go to 99. It was not the fastest game back in the day, but it also, of course, was mostly written in BASIC anyway. Let's change our team. Okay. Let's add P. Barnes, who now has more energy than earlier for some reason. And remove Mr. Keegan. And we add Mr. Wicks. And remove Mr. Moses. Yeah, I've always been an Everton fan since probably 83, 84, when I first was able to watch BBC, or rather in those days BFBS, British Forces Broadcasting Services. Not looking good, but we'll see. Can't do much more than this. There we go again. Okay, at least for once we are in the opponents. We actually score. Are we gonna bury? Sorry, couldn't help myself. Had to do it. Goalie is okay there. The advantage of games like this is that for quite a while you don't have to do anything. The disadvantage is you can't do anything, it just happens, so you can't do anything about what happens. Like this. Exactly, Mitsuyama. I played many a game of this back in the day. Of course, nowadays I could speed it up, but, well. We already know I will be in last place, so we will go to the next game, because I know this is not the most interesting game to watch. It's more fun to play than to watch. Yeah. We go for Escape. This is a game I didn't know back in the day, but it's supposed to be pretty decent. I have no idea about the keys though. So we'll have to wait and see. Okay, what are the keys on this? Ah. Cursor. Okay, cursor keys work. I have to find an axe and then find my cut through the door at the top left side, while avoiding the dinos. This was a game made by the same guy, I can't think of his name now, who also made 3D Monster Maze on the ZX81. He wanted to make something similar, but wasn't able to in the end. He ended up with this, but he uses the 3D, between quotes, effect to hide where the axe is hidden that you need to get out. There's another thing when you have the axe, from what I read, is that once you have the axe, you move a lot slower than the dinos do, so you have to leave the axe, pick it up again, guide the dinos away from the axe and the exit. Yeah, I think it was Malcolm, eh? Yeah. And of course you're not allowed to be touched. Yeah, let's try it once more. Let's go for a bit lower difficulty, because I think I set it to 2 or 3 earlier. I wouldn't be so lucky to have the X up there, nope. Thanks, Seal. Have a good day at work. Try not to let them work you too hard, because we want you healthy and somewhat awake at least. Well, at least trying is a start, I guess, eh? There is the axe. Okay, now I have to first get the dino away so I can pick up the axe without and move it somewhat at least. I missed the 0 there. Let's not do that. So now I move a lot slower. I read that in the manual and I thought, okay then. So we leave the X for a bit and try to get the dino further away. And thanks for coming again, Teal, as always. You know I appreciate and like your company, so... Hope to see you again soon, mate. Now, where exactly did I leave it? Was it around here, I think? Let's see if that's enough to make it. And yes, we actually made it through the first level, somehow. Or the only level. 155 seconds, but yeah. It's a simple idea, but it works. Yeah, thank you, Miss Emma. Ah, yeah, that's one of Pixels. I was thinking who I recognize that. Oh, yeah, you can actually put a date and time in, and then you can save it probably, but that's okay. Now, Cyberrats, I was saying earlier that one of my favorite games back in the day was Centipede, and Cyberrats was a variation on Centipede. Not the best variation, but oh well. Ah, we can actually use a Kamsen joystick. Let's hope it works. Did I set it to Kamsen? No, it's set to cursor. That's not very smart. There we go. I can actually set that to the normal speed if I want to. Actually, that's not a bad idea. I might actually do that for the next game to give some people an idea of what it was really like back in the day when we loaded games. But if anyone ever complains that it takes long to download the game, let's clean up a bit because otherwise it becomes difficult later on. And that was a very much an oops. Actually, let's have a look. We can put fast tape load off and we will go for the next game. Because most of these should actually be 16K games, so they shouldn't take too long. It will take a few minutes then. Yeah, that's a 16K game. Let's go for original loading speed, people. I hope you all have a drink, because this will take a bit. And you actually hear the sound now that we used to hear from tape. I hope it's not too loud. If it is, I can of course lower the volume. Is this better, Zico Bjorn? Go on instructions. Nope. Then we went on with the tape recorder again. And we hope it loads. Ah, there we go. It just took a bit. I only do it for one game though, Zikabjorn, because I don't want to do this to the other people really, but it's kind of interesting to show what we had to go through. And then, of course, back in the day we had cassettes, and if you're unlucky, you were nearly at the end, and then it crashed because there was an error. The tape wasn't correct, wasn't completely okay. That shouldn't happen in this case, but yeah. These are a lot of zeros being loaded at the moment. Oh yeah, fiddling with the volume. Okay, this wasn't too bad, it wasn't too long. I thought I could do it with this. I wouldn't do that with the 128K game or even a 48K game. Okay, what keys do we use? Okay. We have to defend, and of course I'm clearly not succeeding in that. Our convoy. Not exactly hitting anything either. Ah, got one there. Yeah, we have a lot easier, thankfully, nowadays with loading, Zikabjorn. Uh-oh. I wasn't paying attention on the right side. Okay, I'm not supposed to hit those. Okay. Well, nah. But yeah, we kind of liked those games back in the day. Centipede, we already mentioned it. We had a variation on it earlier. I forgot to change this back to fast mode on. This is a lot faster. It's a lot easier these days than it used to be. 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So basically that is a Sinclair joystick, but I'll do it with the keyboard. That's the start, I guess, yes. I did play this back in the day quite a bit, but it wasn't the same, of course, as in the arcade with the roller ball, or the tracking ball, I should say. I also used to be a lot quicker than I am now. Come on. Oh, I got through the level somehow. This is not exactly at the same level as the Coco version we played a while ago. That was a lot better than this. But it is playable. to the other side of that one. And game over. I think we have 3 games left, which is pretty good. Let's start with a classic from the first year. And I think I will need to do code here, but we'll see in a moment. Yeah. Why am I always wanting to do Ctrl-C instead of space to stop this? Hey, Teal. You didn't forget it at all, eh? Let's see. Redefine keys. Yippee. This early we already had redefinable keys, thankfully. Only thing is I can't use space for fire, so we'll use the Z in this case. One player game. Once again, we've mentioned it before, this was what we called 3D back in the day. Oops, that was miss. Wrong height. Oops. Oh well. One tank through. Come on. I used to be better at this back in the day. One too high, I guess. Why am I leaving so many go through? That's not normal for me. Not even I am usually that bad. This is not exactly the same as your World of Tanks, of course, Teal, but one could say it's a sort of a predecessor. Oops, get out of the way. It in many ways doesn't exactly have the same depth, of course, as World of Tanks, but for back in the day this was pretty impressive. And I'm not doing very well at the moment. I shouldn't have this many tanks coming through. Let's keep missing. Smart move. Oops. Got a lot of shots to avoid now. Overshot it there. And I lost 3,500. For the first game in years, it's not too bad. But yeah, this was a real classic. I had it back in the day and played it a whole lot. We got 2 games left. First, an action game. I don't know if any one of you played this one before. I don't think there is a Coco version of this one, Curtis. Okay, we'll have to find the keys on this one. Ah, okay. Probably this. Yeah, okay. Let's avoid them first. You have to make it through the timer. Up there it starts at 99. You have to try not to crash into anything. I said not crash into anything. And not do stupid things like that, because you know it starts firing. Okay, let's try this again. Now, I will die quite a lot in this, but yeah, that was indeed an oops, because that was my own fault there. I totally agree. Yeah, well, this was of course an earlier game than Jetpack, but yeah, it's very similar indeed. Jetpack was 1983, I think. Ah, I almost made it. Now I have to start again. It's sometimes worth to leave one of the rockets going, actually. Because that makes it a bit easier to get through. Sometimes. But let's not do that. Maybe I should have. I'm not doing very good at this. I should normally be able to at least make it through the second level, but not in this way. Last life already? Okay. Let's try once more. No, don't overdo it. Your last match was a win, Teal. I saw that this morning my time. No, couldn't avoid him this time. Yeah, well, you don't always have to do everything. That's it's a team game, so it's all about what the team does, huh? Oops. Almost flew into them. Come on. Ah! I just had to avoid them at the last moment there, and I didn't. Let's put it different. At least you weren't in their way. Yeah, that's... Sure, let's come down there suddenly. Okay, not gonna bore you anymore with this. I should do better on this. We have 2 games left, of 1 game left. And I'm actually wondering what to do. Whether I should do this the old-fashioned way or with the guide. I used to be able to complete this without the guide, but that's a long time ago, and I was trying it the other day and I got stuck pretty quick, but we'll see how far I get. This was 1982 adventure that was way ahead of any other thing that was available at the time. The Hobbit. It has non-playable characters that actually do stuff without your interaction, but you can interact with them, which is something that wasn't done back then in adventures, really. You also notice there's 2 names by the writers, and one of them is actually a woman, which back in those days was an exception. Still is to some degree, but then even more so. It's a text adventure, but has some graphics. There is a new version out of this one, which only works on the 128K machines, which has better graphics, but I decided to go with the original. Yeah, exactly. Roberta Williams, of course, was the other well-known one. But there were still exceptions to the rule, of course. Okay, we got a map. I remember this section. Read map. Well, you can't. That's all very nice. Let's have a look. I think it's east, but I'm not 100% sure. Does it tell me? Or yeah, to the east there's a round green door, so we go east. It's based on The Hobbit. It keeps up with the story to quite some degree, but not completely. And there is some randomness in here. Like here, Gandalf takes the map again, which wasn't the plan, but I don't think it's a real problem. If I remember correctly, I have to go... Well, we'll see in a moment. So, yeah, I have to go north. Because you really don't want to stay with the trolls during the night, of course. And yes, these were games we played back in the day, Teal and Ren and others who don't have that experience. We can only go back to the south, but we really don't want to go to those trolls anymore, so we wait. And we wait. And we wait. Yeah, Thorin, that's all very nice, but we waited for day dawning, because now we can go back south. Yeah, although Oregon Trail originally was text only later got graphics added, but yeah. Now we have 2 stone trolls, because they can't handle daylight, of course. And now we take map. Was it take or was it get? Yeah. And we take the key, because that's the important one. I'm having trouble typing today, as you notice. I actually did play Oregon Trail only a few months ago for the first time, actually. And Oniva actually played it too. Yeah, Curtis, I know some of them. There are some very good ones in there, indeed. We got the key, so we go back north now, I think. I said north, if I remember correctly. And now, I think we have a door here. I'm not 100% sure, because it's a long time since I... Yeah, there's a heavy door. We have a key, so you need to unlock it. And then it is to the north, so we go north. And we're in the Troll's Cave. Okay, we take the sword, because we need that later on. Hi, Longshanks. Good day there. How you doing, mate? I've been playing games today for the ZX Spectrum that were published in 1982, the same year the Spectrum came out. And the latest one we're doing, and the last one actually, is The Hobbit. Of course, a very famous adventure. We go back to the south. And now I'm not 100% sure. We came from the west, I think, so it should be southeast, if I remember right. Yeah, Rivendell. There we go. Let's... I hope I remember the order correctly. Ah, I always forget that it's... I'm doing fine, thank you. No, this... Not backspace, it's cursor left to delete one character on this one. Because in this one, you do something that you hardly ever do in other games. Cursor left. You give commands to NPCs. That was something that really wasn't done back in the day. Okay, I probably have to say that again, or do we first have to say hello? We'll see. It's a long time since I really played that. Ah, now he does. Duh. So basically it doesn't matter that much what you say, it's more... That's go east from the Misty Mountain to get to a narrow place. Okay, that's a long time ago. Did I have lunch already? Because I seem to remember that he has to give me lunch. There we go. Because otherwise you will go hungry later on. We need the map back. So far I still remember, and then I will probably get into trouble. Hey, Sax! Good afternoon for you, I guess. How you doing? Nice to see you in. And now, let me think. Probably east, yes, because we came from the west. Okay, Alan didn't give me the map. Was it more worse than? Okay. Then we go east. Do I follow Gandalf or not? No. This is a long time ago. I used to remember. This is a bit of a maze. And if I remember correctly, it was east, south, east, north. Wow. Was it west or northwest? West or northwest? northwest, I think. Yes, and then it would be north. Am I correct? Yeah. And southeast. Narrow path. And now I have to hope that I remember this correctly. Yes, I do remember it correctly. I tried this the other day and I had forgotten where to go, but a long time ago I used to play this quite a lot and I was able to do this whole game in about half an hour. I know nowadays people can do it quicker. Up. North, I think. Then west. Of course, back in the day we had to go this by trying stuff and dying a lot, but I actually seem to remember nowadays. Misty Mountains, and we go east. There we go, narrow place. Yep, we made maps on paper, indeed. But now I have to look. We can go east, west, or north. We came from there. We trying to think now. Should be north. Yeah. Good. We want to be captured by the Goblin. Normally you don't want to, but in this game you do want to be captured by the Goblin. Because it's where you need to be. Let's see, I think there's sand here, yeah. So we dig the sand. And there happens to be a trapdoor. And now I have to really think which the command was. Phew. Was it... Come on. Smash. I think. Or strike, yeah. That was the other one, I think. That was the word I was actually looking for, but I couldn't think of it. There we go. Then Torrent takes a key. I think now I have to say open window, I think. Yeah. Say to Teal, why is that? Window, I think. Does he do that? Yeah. And then was that west? Yeah. There we go. You're such a brat, Wen. Ah, come on, 99 is also a nice number, but okay, 110. We came from southeast, so we want to go down, I seem to remember. Let me think, where are we? We are there. Yeah, I passed that without even realizing it. It went quickly into... let's see, do we have... You have to wait here, that's it. I think. I'm in the wrong location now. Trying to think. We go southwest, we wait. Yeah, the goblins should appear. Hmm. And maybe in the wrong location now. We just went west. Let's go down. That's... nah. Oh boy. And then I forgot how to go on. Because you're back there again. Okay, I have to look up a guide now. Because I want to complete it. Other keyboard. Okay. Let's see, where are we? We got through the lunch. Give me map. Wait. So far we're gone southwest. We haven't picked up. Well, let's have a look where we are now. I'm alone here. That's a problem because as far as I remember... Or am I missing something now? Can I... Ah, Thorin appears. Okay. Okay, Wen. Thanks for being there. Have a good night's sleep. And see you tomorrow. I'm sure. And thank you for coming by. Let me see, because I'm trying to think where I am now. Did I miss something? Smash trapdoor, open window, pick me up, west, southwest, wait until a goblin appears, north. Wait a minute, is the door open now? No. Say to Thorin. Let's try that again. Okay. Say. Okay, then we go southwest. Yeah, that is where I was earlier. Let's see, yeah. Wait until a goblin appears. That's what I thought, but is it more waits than I remember? Oh yeah, Thorin starts singing about goals. We saw that a lot in this game. Yeah, Thorin. According to this, it was the location where I have to do that, but I don't remember having to do it this long. And this is what I thought too. Or do I first have to go north? Don't remember that, but northeast. No. Okay, for some reason I don't remember how to finish this. Or I misremember it. Actually, given the time, it might be a good idea to actually end it here. I might actually come back to this at some point, trying to finish the game correctly. Because, yeah, this is not going too well at the moment. No, but Well, I could actually do a dump, I guess, but no. It's quick enough to get back to where I am. As you saw, I did that in a relatively short time. So it shouldn't be a problem really, I think. But yeah, I will end the stream here because I also notice I am getting tired. It is just after midnight here. Thank you all for coming by. I hope you liked what I did today. It was fun going back to the very start again, and I'll see what I do. I might actually go to the next year on the Spectrum because, as I said, I have this book and the whole series up to the last version, which is, let's see, 1994 to 2000X. So I might actually go through and do some other games from other years that way. Of course, 1982 had the advantage that there weren't that many games already. I skipped a number of them. I skipped Adventure A, B, C, and D. D I will always skip because there was some rather racist stuff in there, but I might also at some point just do adventure games for a change to do something different. We'll see. For now, thank you all for coming by. I'm gonna see if we can find someone to rate. Let's see who is all on at the moment. Preferably someone who's also doing retro games. I don't know if you happen to see someone around. I may have someone who does somewhat retro related. Yeah, someone who just started actually. We're gonna go rate J-Pop channel. He is playing Super Mario World. That's retro enough for me. Thanks all for coming by again. And as I said, we're gonna rate J-Pop channel. He's a nice guy, and he, as I said, he's doing Super Mario World, so could be fun. Once again, thanks for coming by. Have a good rest of your day or night, and see you all soon, I hope.